History beckons the Macho Man. The cream rises to the top. Oh yeah, dig it! I'm John Renton with every Macho Man Randy Savage WWE and WCW pay-per-view match ranked from worst to best part 3. And those that have been following the channel for a while, even if you've only been following the channel for a little bit, you will know that I love Randy Savage. He's one of my top 3 favorite wrestlers of all time. Bret, Randy, Eddie, and I wish Randy was still here because the impression he left on me as well as so many other fans, I will never forget. I will never forget the promos, the great matches. Even into his later 40s, he still provided some great goddamn moments because he was just that dedicated to being so tremendous in the ring. He would make guys like DDP. He would be part of great moments like a Bash at the Beach 1996. He'd be a great WWE champion, Intercontinental champion, world champion. Anything you put Randy Savage in, he could somehow, just spin straw into gold. And even though we've gone through some matches that didn't best represent Randy Savage, now we're getting to the really good stuff, and I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. And also, Randy Savage was always better than Hulk Hogan. Anyway, number 19 versus Ric Flair for the WCW title at Starrcade 1995. Okay, Savage wrestled Tenzan in the whole WCW New Japan World Cup thing earlier, and then Ric Flair beat Sting and Luger in a triangle match that felt like it took about 14 years. And on Nitro building up to this, Savage had been broken down a bit. He had just become world champion in World War III the month prior and had been battling with Rick and stuff like that. And the question was, could Randy continue to handle this? Could he handle all the, the batterings that he took? And it took a bunch of shenanigans by Ric Flair, shock of shocks, to become world champion. And then Randy would actually win the world title back on a Nitro, I believe about a month later, hold it till Super Brawl 6, and then would lose it, and then would not regain it for a while. But honestly, Randy was a great world champion. I just wish that his 4 reigns lasted more than like a combined 53 to 60 days. It was not very goddamn long. A couple of the reigns were only a day because Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, was always better than Hulk Hogan. This match with Rick, of course, there was blood because there had to be, but I did enjoy this cap-off. It wasn't the last match on Starrcade. Well, it was for the pay-per-view feed, and then they had One Man Gang and Kensuke Sasaki battle for the U.S. Championship, and the One Man Gang became U.S. Champion in late 95/early 96. Pushing new talent. Nothing against One Man Gang. Anyway, Ric Flair would win here, but they'd battle back and forth and have, a great cap-off to the rivalry. So we then get to number 18 versus Luger, Super Brawl 98, no DQ. Savage could always get the most out of anybody, and he did that with a couple matches. Like at Halloween Havoc 95 wasn't the best match he had with Luger. A little bit better at World War III 95. They would have a very good match at Sold Out 98 that I will get to in a bit. And they had a good match. That wasn't quite as good. The wheels are starting to come off a little bit with WCW at this point, but not enough of the bolts were loose to where they were going to start going off the track. Now, they were still rolling for a while. Goldberg would give them a shot in the arm, and then they would start to cascade downwards with Halloween Havoc 98, Warrior and Hogan. Oh dear. But this was a very, very good match because Savage was still working hard. He wouldn't quite, he wouldn't have the knee injury just yet that would basically, end his full-time career because he would try to battle through a torn ACL. That's really goddamn difficult even for somebody that's a, fucking machine like Savage. Him and Luger had a good match here. They were still trying to feature Luger properly, even though he had been cooled up a little bit. He was still over enough with the crowd. And no DQ stipulation, even with a couple, weird shenanigans and stuff like that. Still no DQ. They made the most of it, and they made it work. Number 17, World War III 1995 Battle Royal. He won the title, despite the fact that Hogan was actually under the ropes and never got eliminated and basically took away Savage's spotlight. Gee, that sounds familiar. It's like we're right back at Mania 4, which is another match I'll get to in a bit. But yeah, it was cool that Randy Savage won the World Championship because after Halloween Havoc 95, where they said the Giant won the championship, except he didn't. Even though him and the Yeti dry-humped Hogan into submission. That image is going to haunt me until the day I die. Good God. I was 14 years old and I'm like, what is this? Why is he a mummy instead of a furry snow beast? Why would there even be a furry snow beast in wrestling? Back to this. It was a mess. 3 rings, 60 men, all human centipede together. It was just ridiculous. All these announcer teams doing this stuff. It was not a good idea. They had a bunch of guys that they either brought in for one shot or people they had on the roster that you totally fucking forgot. Oh, and the Yeti. That was the mummy before, not the furry snow beast. He was now Super Giant Ninja the Yeti. It's no wonder the Ron Reese never lasted in wrestling. I mean, my fucking God, he never lasted. He never lasted beyond, like, just being a big guy. I mean, I think the most famous thing he did after this was be part of the flock and be picked up by Goldberg. That's about it. But yeah, Savage won the title. Hogan hogged the spotlight, but Savage was still the champion because Savage deserved it. And would have a pretty damn good but short run until he lost it to Flair at the aforementioned Starrcade 1995. Oh, number 16 versus Ted DiBiase Mania 4. It's the vacant world title or vacant WWE Championship Finals. Okay, Mania 4 has some guilty pleasure, moments and some good stuff, but I will, of course, have to take off the nostalgia glasses, the rose-tinted glasses, if you will, rose-tinted asses. Anyway, what am I on about? And admit that Mania 4 is not very good. Mania 4 was actually kind of shit. Because it was way too long. It was in Trump Plaza or wherever the fuck the place actually, was located. Wherever that Mania was, the crowd was not very enthusiastic. At times they were, but then it just seemed like a lot of times they were like, we don't really care who these guys are. We're just here to be part of it. And in all honesty, Savage winning was great. But, of course, Ted DiBiase had gotten a bye into the finals because Hogan and Andre the Giant had their battle and then ended up doing a double DQ, and that was, by design, so Ted DiBiase could get a ride into the finals and could easily beat Savage, who had faced Butch Reed, Greg Valentine, and One Man Gang in matches, I think that were combined maybe 15 minutes. And that's being kind, because I think the One Man Gang match was like 2.5. But anyway, Ted DiBiase was going to beat him down. Hogan, Hogan was nowhere to be seen because Andre was in his corner. And then Savage said, go get somebody, Liz. Go get somebody. Just go. Go get somebody, please. Not Hogan. Damn it. And he got Hogan. He got Hogan in his corner because Liz is like, I'll bring him. And then he attacks Andre. And then while Ted DiBiase has $1 million dream on Savage, he whacks him with a chair, diving elbow, 1, 2, 3. And then Hogan celebrates like, hey, look. He's the champion. Hey, look, he's the champion. I'm going to be taking the title from this guy in a year. And he was right. And he pretty much, just hung over Savage there and didn't really allow him to be a good champion. And it's a shame, because Randy really could have been a great champion. But no, Hogan had to be a dick. Fucking goddamn Hulk Hogan. He knew that Randy Savage was better than him. Fucking hell. It was still great to see Randy Savage be champion. I'm putting this match this high because of historical purposes, while recognizing the Mania 4 was kind of shit. Absolutely shit. Number 15 versus Hogan WCW title, Halloween Havoc 1996. Yeah, Piper showed up after this and then cut a promo, and then they went off the air while the promo was still going on. Because timing, they never had bad timing with Halloween Havoc after that. Oh, wait. This was notable because Savage and Hogan could always work well together when Hogan recognized that Savage was going to do his shit. He was going to do what he could to make Hogan look good, but Savage also needed to do his stuff and not just, play to Hogan's strengths. Which by this point were very much just him doing the same shit that he did in the 80s/1990. Don't get me wrong, these two still created some magic here. It wasn't nearly as crazy as when Randy Savage had a freaking double axe handle during, I believe, the Piper Hogan cage match a year later, where I'm amazed that Savage's femurs did not shoot up right into his goddamn chest. It was amazing. Like, doing that double axe handle. Absolutely amazing. This match, though, pretty damn good. Maybe not the greatest, but at least it showed that Savage would not quit. And then Savage left for a while, and then came back and joined the NWO. Storyline. What can I say? Match is good. Just aftermath, and the fact that Liz was, there, and then Liz was maybe on Randy's side, maybe not on Randy's side. Liz was fucking gorgeous, and fuck Lex Luger for the fact that he led to her death. He did. He at least, massively contributed in the same way that Jimmy Snuka may have massively, absolutely contributed to the death of Nancy Argentino, and now he's buried in hell, and soon Lex will as well. Match is good, though. So, number 14. With Hogan versus Flair and Vader at Slamboree 1995. Okay, so Savage was battling with Flair. Hogan was battling with Vader. And they took these feuds and Human Centipede them together. Yes, I'm trying to turn that into a running gag. Gag, pardon the pun. Bet you if you've ever seen the Human Centipede movies. Good tag match. Good clash here. I always find it funny that Flair and Vader, feuded from like Starrcade 93 into part of 94, and then we're teaming up like a year later because logic just dictated that we had to just switch people around like this. That being said, Hogan and Savage were the super team, and Flair and Vader were a good team, and it was a good star clash. This was pretty damn good, especially in 95 when things weren't so good in WCW. So they did a turn a profit by the end of the year. Number 13, Withhaul versus Luger and DDP. No DQ, Fall Brawl 1997. Okay, so they're keeping Luger hot. They're continuing the DDP Savage feud. And there you go. Pretty good stuff. I really enjoyed this tag match. At least it had a better finish than they had with, the War Games where Kurt Henning's like, hey, Mongo, submit or Flair's going to get his head bashed into the cage. Okay, I submit. Ha! Psych. But yeah, this was a good match, though. Savage and DDP continuing their stuff and would culminate their feud the next month at Halloween Havoc 97. And Luger, fresh off that title win, that 5-day title run that he had, and battling Hall, who, this is one of the last good matches that Hall had. Hall had a lot of demons by this point. He thankfully has overcome them, but yeah, at this point, it was getting a little bit sad to see him like this. Though, WCW is rolling, and this is a pretty damn good tag match. We can then get to number 12 versus Luger, Sold Out 1998. Now, Sold Out 98 was a bit weird. Bit of a weird show, because they dropped the whole NWO Sold Out thing, which was smart, because it wasn't good. Sold Out 97 was one of the worst pay-per-views that WCW put on. It's a good idea in theory, and execution, it probably just should have been executed instead of being executed on film. This was very good. It was very good, and it was, it was absolutely what you would expect with Luger, who was limited in the ring by this point, but still over, and Savage wanted to do everything he could to make Luger seem dominant. And these guys, created some really damn good magic. The best match that they end up having on pay-per-view, in my opinion. At least against each other, because later, I'm going to talk about a match where he teamed up with Luger. So, we then go to number 11, versus Warrior WWE Championship SummerSlam 1992. Talked about this on the Ultimate Warrior list that I did, where I ranted quite a bit about Ultimate Warrior. By the way, fuck Ultimate Warrior. I'm glad he's dead. But this was a really, really good match. It wasn't the main event because you had that Bulldog and Bret Hart be the main event because Davey Boy and launching him in his home country. This is good stuff, even if Warrior was really limited and didn't want to turn heel, even though he's a real-life dick. And Savage did everything he could and won, had a knee injury, and then dropped the title to Flair a few days afterwards. There we go. So, number 10, versus Flair, Great American Bash 1995. Okay, Angelo Poffo gets involved here at the end. This is a good clash. I really did enjoy the opening match between Brian Pillman and Alex Wright, where Pillman was just battering the shit out of Alex Wright. It was really good stuff. But this was good stuff because Flair and Savage worked magic. They worked in WWE, WCW. Still wish Savage was here. Maybe, imagine if Savage had a podcast and he could just do that kind of stuff and tell stories of Rick, because they always had some great goddamn matches. And this was the second best one that they had on pay-per-view, in my opinion. And we're getting into the good stuff. This was really damn good. Check out my full review of that Great American Bash if you want. Number 9, versus Flair Steel Cage match, WCW title Super Brawl 6. Okay, so they had double cage matches because Hogan had to take on the Giant, I believe. And that's when Hogan really started getting booed. And this is also when they were going to start building towards the Alliance that ends Hulkamania. The Alliance to end Hulkamania, that is, dear God, make it stop. I really enjoyed this match because it's Savage and Flair in a cage, that is, Flage. Man, what the hell was that on about? That was just a whole fucking flummox. Man, this video is off the goddamn rails. This was a really, really good match, though. Really good use of the steel cage. And you could put them in any environment. I mean, almost any environment. And even with the years they had on their body at this point, great stuff. I really enjoyed what they did here. Now, by the way, I should have said the Flair match at Great American Bash 1995 was the third best because it got one a little bit higher. Okay, so I'm just going to lump all these together. Number 8, 7, and 6 versus DDP. The Las Vegas Sudden Death match at Halloween Havoc 1997. Use the Weber! That's at number 8. The Falls Count Anywhere match at Great American Bash 1997 is number 7. And then number 6, No DQ match, Spring Stampede 1997. The reason I'm putting the Spring Stampede one up higher is it showed how unselfish Randy was. Yes, he would eventually win the feud 2-1, but, you know, they told a story, I believe, I think Arn Anderson came in to talk to, not Arn Anderson, but one of the agents came in to talk to Randy and said, what do you want to do? He's like, I think I want to take the diamond cutter tonight. And DDP did that, and boom. Now, he was already on the rise anyway. DDP was getting over. He had a great series of matches with Johnny B. Bad and done some other good stuff. But then this feud with Randy Savage is really what kicked him off to showing that DDP meant something. And you could tell the Savage saw a lot in DDP. And DDP's told the story that he left voicemail on Randy Savage's, on I believe on his beeper or something like that. But he left something. He all that 90s technology. He left the voicemail and then got talked to by Randy right after that, and he was very appreciative, and you could tell they meant a lot to each other. All three of these matches are well worth checking out. Stampede 97, Great American Bash 97, Halloween Havoc 97, so I'm lumping them all together just to get that out of the way, because it's not that they're all interchangeable, but they're all good, and that's about the best way I can rank them. Number 5, with Luger and Sting versus Hall and Nash, Hostile Takeover match, Bash at the Beach 96. Talked about it plenty. You can call this a New World Order wrestling brother. Luger gets taken out. Savage and Sting have to go at it. Hogan comes down, drops the leg and all that. But Savage helped make this work through his determination and the fact he was like, I'm going to get the hot tag, and I don't care if I got, bashed on the neck. I'm going to keep fighting. And then, of course, this would kick off the NWO, and then we would have Savage going at Hogan, over the next couple months. Good stuff. Number 4, versus Hogan, WWE Championship Mania 5. Despite the fact that Hogan immediately kicked out of the goddamn elbow drop and just powered up. And he did that and everything. And it's not quite as good as my Warrior impression, but he would just do this and shake and everything. Wishing that Brooke would shake him like this, brother. This is good stuff. Excuse me. Really shouldn't try to do Hogan and Savage voices in the same goddamn thing. But anyway, he kicked out of the elbow drop, full power, and beat him. So Savage's 370-something day reign just ended just like that. I would have had Savage retain. I would have had Savage immediately go into other programs and then maybe drop it to Hogan at SummerSlam 89. Because honestly, one, it would have kept Zeus out of the goddamn ring. All due respect to Mr. Lister. And Savage would have gotten a chance to actually maybe defend the championship on a proper pay-per-view. Even though I understand what they were trying to do, but I wanted Savage to have a longer reign. And Hogan did not need another year-long one. But this match was really good because Savage could work with just about anybody. And get a good match out of them, or at least a passable match. And he made Hogan look like $1 million. Number 3, versus Warrior, career-ending match, Mania 7. What a woman, what a man. Talked about this. Check it out. On the Warrior one, but Savage left it, or, entered a hero, or entered a heel, left a face, reunited with Miss Elizabeth. They got married, and then their marriage was over by, the summer of 92. Hooray! It was great stuff. Very emotional. Not going to cry about it. Number 2, versus Flair, WWE Championship, Mania 8. Savage was the babyface and was battering the shit out of Ric Flair because he was like, no, you will not do these Photoshop things with my wife, these pictures, and I'm going to beat the shit out of you. Played him. Mr. Perfect kept interfering. And eventually Randy Savage would roll him up, holding the tights 1, 2, 3, and would retain the championship. Or regain the championship, rather. And would hold it for, about 5 months. Just under 5 months. He would have a great run. And then, of course, he would do the whole, you're a liar thing. You're not going to get me worked up. You're already worked up. Oh, put him up. Huh. But it was great. Flair and Savage creating some goddamn magic here. Because, of course, they're Ric Flair and Randy Savage. Granted, this did kind of just nullify Ric Flair's Royal Rumble 1992 win. Because he only held the championship for about 2.5 months. But whatever. Randy got to win and got to have a big moment. Have a great championship run because Hogan left and didn't ruin any other WrestleMania. Oh, wait. Number 1 versus Ricky Steamboat Mania 3 for the Intercontinental Championship. The fuck else do I need to say? Seriously, what else do I need to say? It's goddamn great. It's one of the greatest matches of Mania history. It's either number 1 or number 2, depending on if you put Taker and Shawn Michaels 1 at your top. That's where I would put it. This one, it's 1 and 1A. So that's all I gotta say really right there, because what else can I say about Ricky Steamboat versus Randy Savage. What else can I say about that? They're fucking great. Anyway, agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.